The punch.
لأنه تولي بيس مجادرة ما يرهال صار حمام.
Hello, people, how are you?
Hello, doctor, how are you? Hello, doctor.
تركم قطعة خبرة كان درس Today we move to our next play, which is Carl Churchill's Top Girls. For next week, we'll go back to the Sam Shepard Buried Child. Okay. For next week, we'll go back to week 12 with Sam Shepard's Buried Child. And then we continue with Sarah Kane Cleansed. Okay. Now today we have a play that is highly feministic, and I'm sure you have noticed that as you read about the play. But what Churchill is doing is that she is not talking about feminism from a traditional point of view, but she has quite an interesting point of view, which we are going to talk about. Now the play Top Girls talks about a woman her name is Marlon, and she is promoted to become the head of the agency of Top Girls, an agency that helps women to find adequate jobs. But it's not simply about that. It's much, much deeper. And this is shown in the highly symbolic opening of the play. When Marlene hosts a party for her promotion, she invites 5 characters, 5 different characters. Some are real, some are quite fictional, to celebrate into her success. Actually, Churchill wrote this play to show her point of view concerning the politics of her time, because she was highly influenced by it has political roots, because during the 80s England was ruled by Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, and she was often being described as Iron Lady. And when I remember when I was in primary school during that time, during mid-late 80s, and I remember I was a huge fan of Margaret Thatcher. I loved how strong she looked and how elegant, because I remember in news repertoire they used to show Thatcher delivering speeches, and I was just a kid watching her, and I remember that I really, really admired her character. She was very strong. So I was a fan, although I was just a child. But I loved how strong she looked. But
Doctor,
here,
what about now? Do you still
mm,
like
mm,
her?
yeah, I do. I do. You know, I mean, she has her weak points, but I still see her as a very, very prominent model for independent woman. I mean, she did have her, weak points. But what Thatcher did is something that, for her time, for the 80s, for a woman to rule the world, she was ruling the world. It was quite extraordinary. So I love that about her. It came at the expenses of certain things. I mean, she neglected certain aspects of her
Again.
campaign aims. Mhm. She neglected certain aspects of her personal life. But I like how strong she was. In the same way that I'm completely a fan of Angela Merkel. In the same way, I see Merkel as an extension of Thatcher. So those women are really, really beautiful models, beautiful examples of how strong a woman can be when she wants to be. Okay.
Yes, doctor. I watched the debate about her. I don't know about much about Thatcher, but
Mm,
I listened that the
mm,
feminists
mm,
hate from her because in that debate it was discussed that she used her power against
mm,
women. I mean, what I mean is that yes, she was female, but also she said. When
mm,
she became a first woman
mm.
prime minister, she said,
Yes.
I didn't consider myself a female prime minister because
Mm,
she was happy of being a prime minister
mm,
because she knew that she was going to control the whole world.
mm,
And what I mean is, what I'm trying to say is that she, as I watched in the debate, she never considered herself as a female, and she never uh,
and what's
supported
wrong
the
with that?
female liberation. What
No,
I'm saying is that
mm,
you
mm.
said she was sorry, you said you were a huge fan of her because
Mm-mm.
she was a female.
Very no, because she was a very strong woman. Not simply because a female, but when she was among other men who were head of
Yes,
strong governments, she still made her touch,
yes, but
even if she says so, but that's not true, because she can say that she doesn't see herself as a female, but the entire world at the time, and I'm saying that because I was part of that. I'm telling you as an eyewitness. The entire world at the time was realizing that this was a woman who was among strong men who were head of strong countries, but this woman made all the difference. Even if she says she doesn't look at it in this way, but the whole world looked at it from this way. So it doesn't change a lot what she says. You
yes,
understand?
but yes, I do. But um, in that debate, it was discussed that why we call her a strong woman and
Mm,
lady,
mm.
and it was said that she was strong and iron, like an iron lady, because uh, she rejected her female part and she
We
became
are
a man.
coming to that. That's what Churchill is criticizing in this way.
Yeah.
I'm coming
Okay.
to that. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Okay?
Yeah, but I wanted to ask, as you said, you are a huge fan of her. I was
Mm,
going to ask you,
mm.
would you rather prefer
No, no,
somebody who,
no. I'm not in the favor of her being extremely against
managed?
feminine manner. but I love her strength and independence.
Okay.
That's what I love about her. But when it goes to certain extremes, when she abandons feminine qualities, 100%, no, I'm against that. Well, we'll come to that. I'll comment on that. I think, Manal, you wanted to say something? You were raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. So I wanted to just point out one little thing. I don't know, I haven't listened to this documentary or whatever about Thatcher, but I do understand the sentiment from this point of view. I feel like when people point out that a woman is a woman when she does something, takes away from her skills. It takes away from the fact that she is just as competent. I mean, she won not because she was a woman. She is
No, she didn't win because she was a woman. She won because the party, the political party, the conservatives or the Whigs, I don't remember. I think the conservatives presented her as their nominee, not
exactly.
because she's a woman. No.
Yeah, my point is, I feel like they should, like the narrative of the media and the narrative of the people watching should focus on her skills, on her competency, not just on the fact that she is a woman. It takes away, I feel, from her value. You know, like if a man wins, why don't we just focus on the fact that he is a man? Oh, he's like the first man.
Manal, you are talking now from today's point of view. I'm telling you about the 80s point of view because I was a child back then. I was born in 1978. So during the 80s, I was in primary school. So for the 80s, she was quite a phenomenon. Today, we are accustomed to that. But for her time, it was quite a phenomenon. That's what we are talking. When we discuss something historically, we have to put it in its context.
Yes, I know. I wasn't saying this from like an 80s point of view. I was, or your point of view. I was talking to my Melissa, I think. She was the one who said, why would she say that? And I feel like that's why she would say that. The fact that, they keep mentioning the fact that she is a woman takes away from her, skills. I feel like, I don't know. Just the way Obama, for example, is always going to be the first black president, the first
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and he would say, I don't see myself as black, for example, black, just a black, but I'm a president. This is a personal point of view. But we as people who interact with events, we look from an objective point of view. I mean, when Thatcher said about herself, I don't see myself as a female, doesn't change in any way the way when I was a child, I used to look at her as a strong woman. I don't care what she says. For me, as a person who was in the 80s, I used to look at her with big admiration because she was quite a phenomenon for the time. So the way she describes herself doesn't change in how the world looked at her as an example. That's the point of view. Now, if feminists attack her, that's something different. We'll come to that. Okay, we'll come to that. Now, the play as a whole is a kind of how would I say, as a point of view of Churchill. In most of her plays, like her other famous play, Honors, what Churchill does is that she always takes two examples. One of a woman who goes to the extremes, that she almost forgets that she's a woman after all and she has her own needs and feelings, like in the example of Marlon. And we have the same example in Honors. I don't remember the character's name. And the other example is the woman who embraces her weakness and she does nothing in her life to assert her position in society. In this play, we have it in the example of Janine, Marlon's sister, and also in the other play we have it in the example of a character. So in her plays, what Churchill does is that she takes two copies of, I would say, extremist female characters. One who would go to the extremes of almost assimilating herself to a man. The other one would go to the extreme of defining herself as a weak creature, or a creature who always needs the help of others. And of course, Churchill is in the favor of neither of them, just criticizing both examples, which means that Churchill is in the favor of a woman who is independent, but at the same time stays a woman. No, she knows her needs, knows her limits, and knows her qualities. Neither the too masculine, strong woman nor the fragile, weak woman, but something in between. All right. Now, in the play, we follow up with Marlon, and we see how she reacts and how she treats people. And before I go into the play, if I ask you, by the way, the gentlemen are so quiet today. So I will start by the gentleman in the class today, and I want to ask you, how much do you appreciate the character of Marlon, or how do you regard the character of Marlon? What, my voice is not coming? Hello?
Yes, Doctor, your voice is so clear.
Then what happened to you all?
Oh, it's a play about feminism.
So?
And we are afraid to give our opinions about it.
Why they are afraid?
Because we have a strong woman here.
Who is what? Who? Me? No, I'm a strong woman, but I'm not. I wouldn't go to the extreme to be against men. I'm not against men in any way or in any point of view. But I'm definitely with the right and equality of women. Okay.
Doctor, I think her character was a powerful, a great character. But as you said and you mentioned, it's when you became a powerful person, and the woman, when a woman became a powerful person so much, she lose her, let's say, her, her insinuate, yeah.
Her what?
Oh my God, I forget the word. Her touch of
her femininity.
femininity. Her femininity of yes, this touch of femininity what make the woman are special.
Murtada, what is your definition of femininity?
Femininity.
I would like to know.
Doctor, it is, in my opinion, it's some kind of a style that should any woman follow it to represent herself. It's like something she follows to make herself special.
Now that would be the most. This will be the most interesting lecture ever. Imagine gathering all those Eastern gentlemen and ask them, what is your definition of femininity? I'm going to enjoy this lecture. Yes, Murtada. So how would you see a female?
I like a female became powerful and respectable female, but it's when became powerful more than everyone, she will lose her femininity, like I said. But we now, like we saw Angelique Merkel. She is a president of Germany, but she live a normal life with her family. It's going to show with her husband. She respect him. She not consider herself as higher than him. She is a normal woman and
Oh,
powerful woman. She can lead the world.
so that's the point. She wouldn't see herself as higher than her husband. Wow. I'll stop there. Yes, Manal, what do you want to say?
I'd like to say this. So basically, a woman can only or should only be strong enough not to overshadow her man or overshadow
Exactly,
men.
exactly. Yeah, that's the
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a very curious point. I told you we are going to enjoy this lecture.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, okay. Okay, so Murtada, you appreciate
Sure, but
women,
that means
but she wouldn't be
of course,
better than her husband.
I admire all the women who are stronger to be capable to lead the future. When we saw Merkel leading Germany, it became it's a great country. In Singapore, we have Halima, or don't know her name.
Mm.
The women are stronger from the man in
No,
the way of thinking,
not
the
stronger,
way
but
of
I would say less bloody. What do you
less
think?
bloody. That's what the world needed now. They need
Exactly. Hmm. Less
the
blood, huh? They need less blood.
lovely the lovely language, a smooth language,
Mm. A
all
romantic
that
language. A
a
romantic language.
romantic
Yeah, exactly.
language. Women
Exactly.
do not make big wars about
Mm.
something like money, power. They don't need. They like peaceful
Uh,
life. And
but not always, Murta. There are, I mean, there are example of women who are even worse than men. So it's
we
not
have
always. Yeah, well, women are not always such a
we have
nice
this
creatures.
uh, doctor. We have this kind of
Mm.
woman and that kind of man. It's like a sickness. If there is some character are they are sick, like
Okay.
they have a problem in their psychological view.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm, thank you.
Okay. Now, other gentlemen, what do you think of the character of Marlon? What, the cat ate your tongues or what?
I think our party is defeated.
My party? No, my party has won.
No, my
Your party is
party.
defeated, definitely, definitely defeated. They are too timid to tell what they think about that. Who is in the class? Let me see. Mm, Mohammed. Yusuf, you wanted to say something?
Yes, doctor.
Mm?
I want to say that she represents the the that she was straight and fight for her aim and for her goal, and finally she succeeds to achieve it
Mm?
in hard way,
Mm?
and she put some pressure on herself and her community, something like that. I mean, she can achieve her goal or her aim in another ways, but as you know, the society obliged her to follow these ways to achieve her goal. She represents a strong woman, in my opinion.
So you appreciate her character?
Of course,
And you don't see anything wrong with her character?
no. According
No?
to what I see from the people, how to treat women and how to see women, this is the one.
And what about the fact that she left her own daughter for her sister to raise? This is not wrong?
Every war needs sacrifice. So you
Oh,
need something. Want to leave something. You have to leave something.
but that's too much. I mean, to abandon your own kids for others to raise. That's
Yeah, I told you that she put some pressure on herself, but she put a high goal or high aim behind her eyes, and she sacrificed everything to achieve it. But
and
finally, she achieves it.
which is what?
That she'd be a very successful woman, to be in the top of the other women, that the women see her that as a model, something like that.
Okay, I'll come back to that.
Hello.
Because
I
yes.
would like to ask.
Mm,
I have a question to Yusuf.
mm,
Yusuf,
Mm.
why would women sacrifice their true identities or their nature to become an independent individual in society?
mm.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is
Why we have
something
to sacrifice? Why don't
we are wonder why. I mean, they can achieve their goals, and there is a lot of ways to achieve it, but not in this hard way.
But
Yes.
now you are
May
you
I,
are
Doctor, answer?
but now you are contradicting yourself. You
No,
said
no, no.
you said
I,
each
I,
you said each war needs a sacrifice, but now you say such sacrifices are not necessary. So which one? Pick. Which one are
I
you with?
told that there is a lot of ways to achieve, but she chose this hard way. I don't know why she chose that hard way.
Mm, okay.
Doctor,
Mm.
may I answer the question of Melissa?
Melissa, okay.
Doctor, it's about the ideological that we are following from century, from the first creature of Adam. It's this ideas of that the man is always the controller. They have problem with seeing a woman leading. I remember when I was in the University of Tikrit. Uh, I heard a story about Doctora was a doctor leading the campus, the university. She became every dean in that university refused to go to the let's say to the gathering of the presidency of the university.
Because a
They
woman was leading.
because the woman they say
If I was
this,
her, you know what would I do? I will take all their PhDs and throw it into a trash bin. You
but
know?
you know what's happened there. This woman led the University of Tikrit to the glory. She made the University of Tikrit one
Well,
of the best university in Iraq before the issue of ISIS became that.
so from the beginning of history, it's all a problem of hierarchy. You know, it's all patriarchal ideology that sets the rules for society. What's right and what's wrong.
Doctor, I
That's
have a question.
that's the problem.
I have a question to you directly. Uh, do you think that religion is always followed that rules that man put it and name it as a religious point to control the women's and to
Definitely. Throughout history, men always used religion to belittle women. Although there is no religion in the world that belittles women, by the way.
always man disagree with me when I say there is no such a thing to
You
marry
know
four
why?
women in Islam. I think this is an idea came in the mind of a an Eastern man because they love women. They love these things. They love eating and sleeping with women. For that, they made religious rules, and
Okay.
they say forbidden to break these things.
You know what, Murtada? Okay. Let me comment on that. You know what happens is that the patriarchal ideology in any society uses religion to back them up so that they say we are better than women. For example, if you look at the Quran, okay? If you look at the Quran, when we come to punishments and rewards, did God ever made a punishment for men that is different from women, or rewards for men that's different from women? I challenge you to say yes.
I think there is some
No.
kind of hadith about
No,
women
I'm not going there. I'm not going there, Murtada. No.
they are in the
You know
hell
why?
because
No,
they.
stop there, Murtada. I don't want to go into religious matters because some people will call me atheist, but I believe that 90% of sayings that they put into the prophet's mouth are fake, especially those that are concerned with women. You know why? You know why, Murtada? Oh, that's for all of you. What the prophet says must never contradict with Quran. Never. It should be complementary. If God Himself made men and women equal when it comes to punishment and to reward, how would the prophet, who is a human being, will come to prefer men over women? I will never in a million years from now will be convinced of that. Okay? And I know a lot of people, millions of Eastern, will call me an atheist if I say that, but I don't care. This is my point of view. I follow God's words. When it comes to religious books, any religion, by the way, not just Islam, Christianity, Judaism, when it comes to how God describes punishment and reward, men and women are equal. For example, if you look at a thief, if a man or a woman, the punishment is the same. If you look at adultery, for men and women, the punishment is the same. If you come to being a good person, you are a good, pious person, then men and women will be rewarded in the same way. So if God Himself made us equal when it comes to punishment and to reward, then why would people ever think that they have the right to treat men and women in different ways? Okay? That's the point. That's why I believe then that men and women are equal, not physically, but rationally, emotionally, psychologically, they are equal. Physically only, men will be, because God created them in this way, because they work more, or there are special jobs that need muscles. But when it comes to intellectuality, when it comes to rationality, when it comes to feelings, when it comes to psychology, I don't see men as being better than women. On the contrary, when it comes to how much women take emotionally, then women are stronger. There are certain things that men are incapable to do. For example, motherhood. I mean, if you look at how much a mother suffer with her children, men cannot do that. Actually, it was yesterday when I had a discussion with my husband, and I told him, if pregnancy was left to men will never give birth to one child. They will not tolerate it. They will not bear it. The pain, the struggle, women are much stronger when it comes to that.
Humanity will vanish.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
Doctor, I think, and that's why mothers, they call the heaven under their foot. I think this is the reason.
Yeah, exactly. So men and women are different physically, okay, I'm with that. Emotionally, okay. But to say that men are more intellectual, no, I have a problem with that. Or men are more rational, definitely no, I'm against that. Or more are more advanced emotionally or psychologically, no, definitely no. Because there are no scales. How do you know? I mean, how do you know? We have very intelligent women and we have very intelligent men. We have genius women, we have genius men. We have women who become queens and presidents and governors, and they are better even than men. So there is no such scale that says men are better. It is society that decides that. It is patriarchal ideology that decides that, unfortunately. But now everything is changing. People are more educated now, and they can see that what holds society together is women. You know, if women are lost, society is lost. So what brings society together actually are mothers and wives and sisters and partners. Okay. Now people are changing. They are becoming more educated. They are becoming more understanding. But still, we need a long time to change patriarchal ideology, especially in the East. It takes a lot, but at least we are starting to have a more educated society, a more open society. Yes, Manal?
There is this quote I heard somewhere, I don't even remember, but it says something like this, that men are more interested in restricting a woman's freedom than in exerting their own. For example, like you stand before a man and he tells you what not to do. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. I can't, but you can, and look at us. We're both here together having this argument. Like, why aren't you out there using that kind of freedom that was given to you? Why are you here trying to restrict my freedom? Why are you trying to tell me what not to do? Why aren't you doing it yourself?
Yeah, well, okay, I'm with you. Yes, because especially in the East, men are afraid if women becomes equal, they are afraid that they would lose their privileges, that they have to work as hard as women work. For example, if you look at the Western societies, you would see that the man has equal jobs inside the house as the woman. He washes dishes, he changes diapers, he cooks, he does a lot of jobs. But when you look at Eastern societies, it's the mother who does all that together, plus her job outside the house, plus her other obligations. So women do all the job, and all men do is that they come home, eat their meals, go to sleep. That's it. Have you ever seen an Eastern man who washes dishes with his wife? Never. Have you ever
Yes,
seen
sister.
who? Who's
Yeah.
that?
It's me.
Yeah. My father.
Sister.
Your father, those men, you know what? Murtada and Melissa's father should be put into the museum as examples.
Not my father. It's me. I am a married man. I have a wife. I
No,
always
no, I said
love
Melissa's father, not you. I said Murtada and Melissa's father. You should be
Victor.
put in the museum. That's amazing, actually. Okay.
Victor. I'm always trying
I didn't say
to
my
help
brother.
my
Mm,
wife. Sorry,
mm.
Melissa.
That's very
But I'm doing that.
nice.
When I'm doing that, they always take this
Mm.
view over me. They think I am not a man. I am
Yeah,
a
they
weak man.
think you are weak.
I
Yeah,
am weak.
no,
I am not a
no,
I think I
no,
am a gentleman when I am doing that.
no, better than that. They would say your wife made a witchcraft for you, sorcery for you.
Victor, when I entered the college in Tikrit, I always had these ideas about women's, about religion. Always, I am a religious, not a religious man, but I am follow these rules. I am praying. They always says Murtala is atheist. It's a famous thing upon Murtala in the college.
Simply because you are different.
Of course, I always think every human do not need follow what a man said before 1,000 years, or I not know he was. There's many of hadith and riwayat. It's not logical things. I
Exactly.
don't believe these things. I believe that every human has a conscience and he has a mind. The real religion means you follow what God gives you, the mind and conscience, the healthy uh, religion and the healthy mind, what we say in
Exactly.
Arabic.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you. So the point was that Manal raised is, and I answered her, is that men, why wouldn't they want women to be equal to them? Because men do not want to lose their privileges. That's the point. To put an end to it. Okay, they don't want to lose their privileges. They are afraid of losing their privileges. That's all. That's all the story. Okay, they are too selfish to lose their privileges. Not all men, of course, but most of them. All right. Okay, now let's, because if we go on like that, we'll never cover the play. So let's come back to the play. Let's talk about the first act in which Marlon is hosting a dinner. In that act, she invites 5 characters that are supposed to be linked with some historical events. Those 5 characters, some are fictional, some are real. For example, Isabella Bird is a real 19th century travel writer. Lady Nijo is a real 13th century courtesan who later became a nun. As for the other 3, they are fictional. One of them is a subject of a portrait. The other one is from Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, Griselda. And the other one is, again, a fictional character about a story, you know. What brings, yes, Melissa?
Pope John, you mean?
Yes, this is quite fictional. There was no such character. It's a story. What brings all those women together is that, like Marlon herself, they went to extremes. They abandoned their feminine identity. One of the main themes of the play is feminine identity and how it is defined. Concerning those 5 historical characters, like Marlon, they abandoned their feminine identity and they preferred to embrace a more masculine identity because for them it gave them more freedom to act according to their historical context rules. For example, let's take this real character, Isabella Bird, who was a 19th century travel writer. If she did not abandon her feminine identity, if she wouldn't embrace male ideology, she would never been able to travel and become a writer in the 19th century because women were still not regarded as successful writers or as being able to travel independently. So she had to give away of some of her feminine identity. The same thing with that fictional story about a woman disguising herself to become a pope, because she had to give up her feminine identity, disguise herself as a man, because this is the only way in which she can take a leading position, which is a pope. Because in Christianity, the only position a woman can take in the church in relation to the church are nuns, and they are never been promoted. The only promotion they get is that when a nun becomes an abbot, that is, she becomes responsible for other nuns, that's to say. For example, in this church, you have like 20 nuns. One of them will become the abbot. She will be responsible for them. That's as far as they can get in relation to the Christian church. But they will, for example, they will never become cardinals or archbishops or pope, never. So in that story, Joan had to give up her feminine identity. She had to wear clothes of men and disguise herself as a man to be promoted to become a pope. So again, here it's linked to patriarchal ideology, because there is nowhere in the Bible that says women cannot become a pope or cardinal. There is no such thing in the Bible. So again, it's a patriarchal ideology. Men decided that. Okay. So those 5 characters all share this feature with Marlon. Which feature? Abandoning feminine identity to be able to compete with patriarchal ideology. That's what it's all about. The question is, why would ever women feel that they have to compete with patriarchal ideology? I mean, if I'm good in what I'm doing, why do I have to compete with men? For example, why Marlon feels that she has to compete with men? Why she wouldn't understand that she is good, then it's good, that's it. It is this specific point that Carl Churchill keep on criticizing in her plays. Why some women feel it's necessary for them to compete with men. Why she wouldn't see herself as equal or better. That's the question. So this means, ultimately, this means that those women are not confident enough, which means they are not as strong as they try to make us believe. For example, now, I am a woman who have a PhD, and I'm associate professor, and I teach at the university. Never in any point in my career did I feel that I need to compete with men. On the contrary, men compete with me because they know that sometimes I may be better. So I don't need to compete with men. Why would I compete with men? I'm as good or better than they are. So there is something wrong with Marlon and with those characters. Yes, Murtada?
Doctor, about this thing, I think what's man-made, it's created a circular of ideas. Now, when I see an old woman, she older than this generation, she consider that generation like, I think my wife, she's a student in the university, and she has ambition to become a doctor. They always says, "Oh my God, she is a weak one. She is not working in the home. She is
Yeah,
like
exactly.
these things." They always proud of being a slave. They always telling us, "Made your wife like a slave. Punish her or don't what." I always telling them, the older woman, "Are you proud of being that strong?" One of them tell me, "I bring the water from 7 kilometers on my Back, it's not a way of man leaving, women leaving, but what happened is they put this idea in her mind
It's a
that
brainwashing, you know,
it's a
brainwashing.
brainwash. Yes, doctor, exactly what that I'm trying to say. And those women are trying to make the same things on their
Yeah.
small girls or
Yes. Yes.
mm,
Yes. I get.
that's my point.
Yes, Manal.
I feel like we could relate this play to, or this issue precisely to the first play that we did, All God's Children.
Got wings.
Exactly, got wings. So I feel like that's exactly the same kind of issue that was that was actually discussed there, because that guy, that man, that black man, he had
Jim.
this huge, yeah, Jim. He had this huge fear, but also this immense need to prove himself to white people that it actually held him back. His need for their approval and their validation was exactly what was preventing him from getting that validation. I think that's exactly the same way with women. They
Exactly.
want. Okay, yeah. So you got
Yes.
the point. That's it.
Yeah, I got the point. There, it was white people ideology who made black people feel that they need to compete them.
Exactly. A race that just proclaimed themselves superior, and then now
Yes.
it's a gender that just proclaimed themselves
Exactly,
superior.
exactly. In all God's Shillunga twins, we have a racial problem. Here we have gender problem, but it all depends on wrong ideologies. When men put patriarchal ideologies to make women submissive, is in the same way that white people put racial ideologies to make black people slaves. It all falls into the same place, into the same point. Always the stronger rules the weaker, regardless of what's right or wrong. Okay, yes, Manal, you want to say something? Oh, okay. So the thing is that always the stronger is the weaker, regardless of who the stronger is. Men against women, white against black, whatever against whatever. It's always the stronger against the weaker. The stronger always try to apply their own ideologies, their own rules to the weaker part, and the weaker part has to accept without trying to discuss a discussion or argument. Okay, that's the point.
Doctor, but as the slaves, I mean, I'll say the slaves are those on the one who continued these things. You know, the slaves were two kind of slaves: home slaves and the farm slaves.
The
The home
plantation
slaves
slaves.
were making those slaves. They were controlling them and they humiliated them more than the white man or the British man or
Well, we
anyone.
are not
They
going. Well,
come
we are
into
not.
doing that. They creating slavery again and again. They can make something different, but they fear
Murtaza, we
their
are
life.
not going. We are not going through that. I'm just sticking to the general point of view. The general point of view, which is always the stronger dominates the weaker, and it's the stronger who puts ideologies and rules on the weaker. What happens among the weaker, this is something different. This is in the same way that some women are being the enemy of their own sex. The one you mentioned before when you said older women think younger women are not good. It's in the same way. We are not going to this, but we are looking at it from a more general point of view, which is what, as I said, the strong party puts its own ideologies and rules to make the weaker submissive. Okay? Now back to the play. As we said, those five fictional characters are all share the same feature with Marlon, which is what? Which is they feel it's necessary for them to compete with women, with men, while this is completely wrong. This is not a healthy way of looking at it. Women do not need to compete with men. Women just need to be good enough for themselves. That's it. That's Churchill's point of view, by the way. That's how she looks at things. She is with women gaining her independence. She is with women gaining her equality, but she's against the idea that woman has to give up her feminine identity to assimilate male identity. That's the point. Okay. And this is been reflected in Act 2 when Marlon keeps on looking at other women as being weaker. I mean, those are women like herself from her same sex, but she looks at them as being inferior in the same way men looks at women as being inferior. So she's turning herself into a male ideology, and that's what Churchill was criticizing. That's what's wrong with Marlon. She even looks at her own sister as being inferior. When we go to Act 3, and we have this earlier conversation, like some years ago, Marlon looks down on her own sister, Janine. Although Janine is also another example of, I mean, not a very bright example, because she's too weak to live her life. She's weak to the point that she accepts to raise her sister's child without complaining, without saying anything about it. But and she is stuck where she is. So as I said from the beginning, Churchill takes these two examples as extremes. Marlon going to the extremes, assimilating or embracing a male identity rather than a feminine identity. Janine being too weak to go forward in her life. She's stuck where she is for many years. Both of them are not bright examples. What Churchill prefers is a woman who knows her value, who knows her worth, but at the same time, she doesn't need to embrace a male identity. She embraces her feminine identity, she's proud of it, and she's strong enough to develop her life. Okay, yes, Manal?
I would like to point out that maybe you mean Joyce, because I think Joyce is.
Joyce, sorry, yes.
Okay.
I was confusing her with someone else. There are too many names. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Joyce.
Janine is actually a good example too, because she was a young woman who came into the agency looking for work, and she told Marlon that she was looking for a job so that she can save up for her wedding. And Marlene told her that she shouldn't mention that because as a goal it would diminish her chances of getting a job, basically. And I think that's also not very feminist of her. Feminism means that you can encourage and support any woman in any kind of endeavor.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's why I told you. Marlon started to look at her fellow sex. I mean, the other woman, and the same way that a man would look at a woman as inferior. She started to act like a man, actually, and to think like a man. That's what's wrong with her character, Marlon. Okay. Yes, her sister name is Joyce. Yeah, I was confusing the two names. All right. Now let's come to the main themes in the play. Who's responsible for that? The themes in the play.
Yes, teacher, you asked me to do a theme, but you already mentioned what already I want to talk about it, but I want to add one point relating with what we talk about with the title of the play. Actually, choose this title infantilizing mean that in place that even if a woman makes it to the top of a social or functional leaders, they are still just as girls. That's what I want to add. It just because we already talked about many things.
Like
It's
what? What are the themes you?
okay. I have two themes, two main themes: life under the patriarchal society, and the woman and care. That's all.
Okay, so tell us, maybe we'll come up with new
You,
ideas. Tell us a little bit about. I covered all. Why? I'm encyclopedia. Or
it's the
how do
same.
I know?
It's the same. I don't want to repeat it. The same idea. That's why.
Exactly the same?
Yeah, it's the same. Actually, it's the same.
I must be a clairvoyance to know what you exactly wrote about. Do you know the
Did
meaning
you
of
want
clairvoyance, Iman?
No.
You don't know the meaning of clairvoyance? Who does? Who knows the meaning of clairvoyance? No.
Someone like a psychic or something?
Not psychic, but okay, yeah, they may link it to that. Yes,
Future.
the clairvoyance means the ability to predict, to see into what's coming.
Okay.
So a clairvoyant character actually, okay, I have some clairvoyance qualities. Sometimes I know some what's going to happen sometimes. So, but I didn't know I'm that good, Iman.
Doctor, actually, I read many of things. For example, there is many themes, serialism or something like that. But I didn't feel it's too
the first
close
act is
to our...
the first act is being considered serialistic. Why?
Yeah.
Melissa, I will come to you because we have a fictional dinner that never took place. Actually,
Yes, it's like a dream, a nightmare dream. Each woman have
yes.
a
So
horror story.
we have a fictional act in which none of those characters are really sitting with Marlon. That's why we call it serialistic, because they are not really there. It's quite a fictional act, just to tell us or to prepare us to understand the character of Marlon and what she shares with those fictional characters. That's the purpose of the first act.
Yes, doctor.
Okay?
And each of them, I already read it on internet, repeated the same idea about a woman, about a man, patriarchal society.
Okay.
So it's a main theme. It's a patriarchal. I think that.
Okay. Yes, Melissa, what did you want to say?
I was going to ask a question to you. I was going to say, please let Iman to share what she has for girl and woman. She was going to talk about
Yes.
the title.
Well,
because we didn't discuss
I'm begging her to say, but she says no. You covered all.
If you want to me to,
I just wondered this.
This one, which one?
Girl and woman. And what's the difference?
Okay. Yes, yeah.
Girl and woman. No, I didn't say I'm talking about girl and woman. Career and woman.
Career.
Career and woman?
Career.
Yeah. Yeah, career, yeah.
Ah, sorry. Okay, I thought she's going to talk about being girl and woman, and she talked about the title, Top Girls, and I just wondered about that. Sorry, then.
Actually, the title reflects the same idea. That's why I related with it.
She mentioned that the title means no matter how a woman reaches the top, in regard to society, she will always be a woman. That's less than a man. That's what she wanted to say. Okay. The problem is that the agency is called Top Girls, and Marlon is supposed to be the head of the agency, but she keeps on ridiculing every woman that comes forward. I mean, her job would be what? To help those women to be on top of society, to be top girls. But actually, she does completely the opposite. She belittles all those young women who, or not specifically young, all those women who come forward asking for a job. She finds all not competent enough because, as we said, she herself starts to look at women as being inferior, although she herself is a woman. But
So
because
it's like an irony.
it's a contradiction in her character, because she herself abandoned her feminine identity and embraced the male identity. She wants everybody else to do the same, but this is not true. Not how would I say it? This is not true. Okay, if you choose to abandon your place in society, if you choose to abandon being a woman, it doesn't mean that you force others to follow your example. For example, when she makes fun of that girl, telling her, why do you need to get married? You don't need to get married. She doesn't have the right to dictate other women of how to regard their life or how to look at their life. Okay, that's Churchill's point. Okay, so concerning themes, we are nowhere.
So, doctor, it's like affected in a mind washing. Even in each scene, she want to ask the same question the society already asked it. For example, see the woman, as you said, marriage. Ask her why you want to marry or something like that. So even herself.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes, but because she wants to force everybody to take her example.
Exactly.
That's not healthy, of course, and it's not correct.
Of course, that's why in the last scene in the play, she considered as a failure.
Yeah, but I told you, Churchill takes her an example of going to extremes, not as a healthy example at all, not as a healthy example.
Doctor, I'm thinking if she wants, every woman, if she want to be succeed, she has successful. She has two choices, or sacrificing, and that is a hard decision. Like Marlene, she do that. There is another choice, but it's need a wise brain. A woman, if she don't need to sacrifice, she just need to find a good person, a good man to support her in her dreams. It's simple. It's about, there's an ideology in the brains of women, Western women. They always running on marriage. It's not a big matter. Why you go and marry when you are became in 20 years old? It's not matter things, and it's not important to marry. If you found a good guy, if he have that good mind, good ideas to support you, to build the future with you, then you don't need to sacrifice. And if you don't find this guy, sacrificing is better than marriage a man who has no brain in his mind.
Okay, but here you are voicing society when you say women need to find a man to support her. Not necessarily. I have a friend, my same age. She had very hard circumstances, very harsh family circumstances. She faced all that by herself, and I watched her doing that. We were MA together before I got married. We were MA students together. She was a neighbor in my neighborhood. I mean, she was living in the same neighborhood, so I watched her all the time. She defied all those circumstances. She defied all those circumstances. No. And then she went to England. She had her PhD, and now she's a very successful instructor, and she did it all by herself. She didn't need the support of a man. She only believed in herself. That's it. So no, I wouldn't say that for a woman to be successful, she needs the support of a man. Not necessarily. No, there are a lot of women who
In
made
our
their own.
society,
Who, no, even our society. She's from our society. She's not from Mars.
is
Not women do not need necessarily the support of men. There are women who made their own success by themselves without needing anybody. They were completely alone, facing this whole universe alone, and they were strong enough to do their own success alone. Without any
I'm not saying.
sacrifices. Without any sacrifices, okay?
I know. I know that, but I'm think if they get an assistant in that thing, يعني in her future, that will be better for her.
She doesn't need assistance. She's quite independent and quite happy. She doesn't need any assistance. Believe me. She has her own career, she has her own house, and she doesn't need anybody's assistance. No. No, not all women are weak to the
Maybe she is
point
special
that
woman.
they need somebody to lean on. It's not a must. That's the problem with our society. They think for a woman it's a must that she needs somebody to lean on. No, that's not the rule. Some women make their own success without needing anybody at all. And even if they got married, their partners share in their life, but they do not make their life. It's a quite difference. When your partner is a part of your life, but you don't need to regard your partner as a thing without it you'll die. No, that's wrong. That's what patriarchal society always try to brainwash women into, that without men they will be lost and they die and they are failures, blah blah blah. That's the problem. Actually, women have enough strength to go on alone, or they regard their partners as part of their life, but not life itself. Do you see the difference? There is a huge difference. Okay.
So we will equip and take everything. You don't need everything.
What, Yusuf? What?
We will equip the man, all of and
Why do you need to quit? Who said you need to quit?
so you don't need us. You don't need everything. So
I didn't say that. I've never said that. I said a successful woman is a woman who regards her partner as part of her life, not life itself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with what I've said.
yes, but what my colleagues mean is to get some help, just not to face everything behind everything when she is alone. She will, the one not like two, not like three, to facing
In your own point of view, but not all people think in this way, Yusuf. That's how you think, but not all people think in the same way you think. Okay? People, yes?
Why in Israel the authority of father and brother prevents the women from advancing? They say, go married, and then you can achieve your what you want.
I said that already, Sarah, because this patriarchal ideology, they are afraid of losing their privileges, so they apply more restrictions on women, so that they will not lose privileges. I talked about that earlier.
Yes.
When I said that all that ideology
alone, they can't. If she want to make something alone, she can't. Everything is shame or forbidden.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I said earlier, to prohibit, to restrict women so that they will always have their own privileges, the patriarchal ideology. Okay. Melissa, yes, what did you want to say? I'm coming to you, Iman. Yes, Melissa?
Yes, hello back. I want to ask about the play again. It's touch to Thatcher. It's a political touch to Thatcher because in the play, Churchill says, sorry, I didn't find it, but it says like Thatcher. She compares Thatcher with Hitler, and she says if she if Hitler was a female, we will support him. So, what do you think about this quotation from the play? What is its political touch to with the play relation? Because you said we are celebrating the female achievement, but she criticizes, and I'm asking, what is she criticizing exactly? Is it how Marlene became like Thatcher?
No, Melissa, I said that before. What Churchill is criticizing is that when women have to abandon their feminine identity, when they feel that they have to compete with men, Churchill believes that you don't need to compete with men. You are as good as men, if not better. So characters like Marlene or Thatcher, according to Churchill's point of view, they abandoned their feminine identity and they felt they have to embrace male identity so that society will admire them or will fear them or will respect them. And this is wrong. They don't need that. They can be women and strong at the same time. They don't need to assimilate themselves to men. That's Churchill's point of view. For example, in Thatcher's example, she had a very miserable marital relationship because she wasn't behaving like a woman to her husband. She didn't have time. This is what Churchill is criticizing. A woman can be a full woman in the full sense of the word and still be independent and strong. That's what Churchill is criticizing. You don't need to abandon your feminine identity. Do you understand now? Do you get it now?
I got your point, yes.
Okay. Yes, Iman, what did you want to say?
Yes, so I want to make a mention on my colleague Yusuf once said neglected man. Just I wondering why they thinking like this way. If we can stand alone and dependent on ourselves, so that's mean we neglected man.
Exactly.
Side.
Yeah, that's the Eastern point.
Why you make this? Why make these standards for us?
No,
Example, each.
I just was joking. That
You
so
can say.
you said that you don't need man, you don't need this. Also, are we adequate and take the role?
No,
Nobody said.
want to...
Nobody in the class said we don't need a man. I don't remember ever anybody who said this statement or this sentence.
Yeah, I was joking.
Okay,
Just
nobody.
We are not less than man. And
Exactly.
we can't stand alone. There
But
is
they
a standard.
But men hear it as we don't need men. When we
Yes.
say we are as good as men, they hear it we don't need men.
No, I don't. I believe there is enough power man and enough power woman, and there is a man complete woman.
Nobody completes nobody. No, I'm against that. No.
There are the equal and each
nobody completes nobody. When you say men complete women, we are back to 0 point that women are less.
Not less. There is a man less. I mean that there is a point of view from women that man need to express for her
Yusuf,
and
Yusuf,
equal and vice versa.
Yusuf, what our society cannot understand and cannot see, unfortunately, is that what is between men and women is a partnership. Okay, you don't need a master-slave relationship or superior-inferior relationship. What's between men and women, to be successful, it should be a partnership.
Of course.
Okay, that's the point. That's the entire point.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is
Okay?
I completely agree with this.
It's a partnership. That's what we are talking about. All right.
That's what I mean.
Okay. All right. Now I'll stop here because I'm starving and I'm thirsty and I'm tired. And we'll get by the way, we'll get nowhere with that men-woman relationship. Do you think the men in the class are convinced now? Definitely not. Or do you think women are satisfied now? Definitely not. It's a struggle, a war that started with Adam and Eve, and it's not going to end till doomsday. But it's always healthy to try to look at matters from a kind of academic point of view. It's a healthy discussion. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Yes.
Even us.
We're trying to put a fingerprint in this conversation because I told you when I have these thoughts, there's many of my colleagues and neighbors, they affected by my thoughts and they changed. Not a big change, a big difference, but a little bit. It's better than nothing.
Yes, exactly. So I said that earlier. Society is now changing a little bit. They are more open now, more understanding. And I hope that with the coming generations, ideologies themselves would change. Okay? All right.
Finally, I would say that behind every, not behind, beside every great woman, every great man, a woman. Why behind, beside? Let us take her hand by hand and go away.
Well, as I said, it's patriarchal ideology. Anyway, so that would be all for today's lecture. And it was a nice, healthy discussion, I hope. And yeah.